not here today. He is out, with the vid, and so he didn't want to affect us. So as vice president, I will chair the meeting for now. Again, I will be abstaining until we obtain, legal counsel advice on future involvement. But today is, Wednesday, December 20th, 2 p.m., Commissioners' Hearing Room. Roll call.
Martha Yoder, present. Denny Malloy.
Here.
James Kinnick. Nick Coggins.
Excused.
Randy Smith.
Here.
Chuck George.
Here. Okay. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. We have a copy of it in front of you. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I read the minutes. I have no, corrections or additions. I'll make a motion to approve
Okay.
as presented.
Engineer Smith. Do we have a second?
Yes, I'm gonna have to do it because Chuck can't vote.
That's right. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Number 3, report of the presiding officer and or executive director or staff. Well, he is not here to report on anything. And Martha, do you have anything as an officer?
I can just report on.
We can blend this into
So I was
other
gonna
reports
say
and
some of these are
communications,
kind of,
we'll
yeah.
do-
I will first of all explain, because I was charged with a couple of things the last time, so I will give a report of what I have done. I was requested by, this board to, apply for and, request $15,000 from the commissioners. We've done that. I can't tell you the exact date, but I can record it. But it was a few weeks ago. We have that check. For now, that check is in the safe upstairs or downstairs. The other part of that was to get a bank account, and that got to be a little more complicated than we anticipated, because it's everything more complicated than anticipated. I went ahead and applied for the EIN. We have that. Nick learned a new word. I used a word, saw a word used that I hadn't seen since college, and that's a government instrumentality, which is what we are, and that's what the IRS considers us. But it is a little bit of an oddity when you're trying to get a bank account. And they also, because of the size of what we're doing, the size of our account is not very big, so it doesn't completely fit with government accounts, and it doesn't really fit with business accounts. But over the last couple of days, Nick and I have made headway and gotten the application and everything completed with U.S. Bank. So we should have, unfortunately, because of this situation, it does take time to actually complete getting the account done, but in 2 to 3 weeks, we will have an account and be able to deposit those funds. So that's my report of what I was requested to do.
Do we have any correspondences regarding, obtaining legal counsel?
We don't have any correspondence on that. I do know that he has, made contact with several, but we don't have anything. And I'm gonna really quick check and make sure he hasn't texted me, because I texted him before. As I said, to Randy and to, Commissioner, we were in contact up through last evening, working actually on getting that bank account done, because there were forms that he had to sign. And we put, just so you know, as far as the account goes, my name is on the account as Secretary Treasurer, but we felt that it was better to have a second person on the account should something happen to me, because that's completely possible. We never know what's gonna happen to us. So, yeah, in order to complete that account, he was helping me with that and getting things signed and sending it back. The last I heard, he was doing much better. He was planning on being back to work tomorrow. But then today I have had nothing from him. So I'm hoping he's all well and okay, but I'm a little bit concerned that I haven't heard from him, to be honest. But what he had said to me is he had played phone tag quite a bit with several of those, entities. And so had been working towards that. It was just hard to get them. And of course, with the holidays, it's always getting those return calls. So that's where we're at with that. I anticipate that we're probably, maybe once he makes contact with the attorney and we have the account set up, and we have something to report, that we'll probably do a special meeting between now and the 20th, when our next meeting is.
Okay.
Or March 20th, whatever.
Okay,
Right?
very good. Any other old business?
From my perspective, the only thing I would share is that we provided, the chairman with the affidavit certifying the project cost needs.
Very
So
good.
that was discussed, so that's
Right.
in his possession.
All right.
Okay. Any new business?
We can't do anything till we get
All right,
those
until
two little
they turn-
pieces,
yep.
those two little puzzle pieces done. And unfortunately for us, it's taken longer than I think either one of us anticipated it to be. I think we
Well,
both
out of the
thought.
to-do thing, I mean, we're on the verge of the bank account. Once that
Right.
happens, deposit the money, we hire counsel,
Right.
and,
And I think we can, certainly knowing that we have that money and that we have the bank account almost there, he can certainly make, by the time that he probably gets in to see anybody, we'll have the account. I'm not in that at this point. I wouldn't have been as confident 2 days ago, but I'm confident now.
within the next 10 days, I'm supposed to have a lunch with Commissioner Ditzler in Mahoning County also,
Okay,
to discuss basically this. He's been on their TID for 5 years. So he offered today to meet me for lunch and go over any of the details, the ins and
Okay.
outs from his perspective.
okay,
And then we blend that in with the legal counsel that we get, and then we should be on our way to,
right.
March, I believe, is the first deadline where we can apply for funds.
Right, which is why I feel like we probably will have to do a special meeting in there someplace.
You're right.
Because of our next scheduled meeting, regularly scheduled meeting is March 20th, here in this room at 2:00.
Commissioner, or, engineer, do you have in your mind a, preference on projects? You put together anything as far as your dream list, your wish list, as far as what we should be gearing this first initial request towards?
I can't say at this time, but I think you're aware that we're having a traffic analysis done out of Mines Road and State Route 46. There were some specific time constraints associated with that. This was the warrant analysis, so we'll have that information. I'm assuming the light's gonna be warranted. So that would be one possibility to apply. The other one, there's some additional discussions taking place about the connector, associated with the, Pine Avenue Port property. There's some additional funding coming up, I believe, in the next 2 to 3 weeks to apply for. The port sent out a mass email, I'm assuming you perhaps have seen that, to sit in on some of the training to make that application. So I don't know if that'll go hand in hand or not. We really haven't resolved some of the issues on educational to apply for that, so I'm not sure, yet, but those would at least be 3 things for consideration. And the list was nothing more than a working list, any
Right.
project that comes to the forefront, we can move forward.
In regards to those ones that you have, this would be a good time for discussion, somewhat of it too, is the study for mines. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like we're right in the midst of the Christmas season, we're right at the peak time where we worried about the jam up. Now, we're not at the next 3 years divergent diamond yet, so there still is a flow of traffic coming off
Mhm.
82 and 46. So that hasn't been as big of a problem as it could be. I mean, we foresighted it might be bigger than what it is right now, and people are able to get in and out of the mall now. And I haven't heard any complaints about, people not going to the mall because of traffic right now. So I think we're okay for now. As that study comes, it'll be nice and timely over the next couple of years when it really will be needed, I believe, for that project. For the port project, I'm sure they're working on stuff there every day. We should hear stuff from them. I know it's a priority.
Oh. We're almost done, but we can fill you in. We're almost done, but we can fill you in.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mr. Kinnick?
Yeah, this is one of the.
And for the record, Mr. Kinnick joined the meeting at 2:09. And, the third one, educational highway, did you get a chance to see any of the stuff we had on our agenda last week in regards to educational highway or any of the, no, it was correspondences we got from the attorney, I
Great.
think.
I don't think we've got anything on the.
Okay, and that'll be something we'll have to share with you soon.
Okay.
Just to see, based on that advice and the advice that you've gotten, how that comes into play. But it seems like
Okay.
there has been progress on the commissioner's side of getting some things done, and I hope it's in line with, the recommendations and guidance that you have with your council to make sure that we get this thing done.
Okay.
And then funding wise. Mr. Kenny, to bring you up to speed, we kinda went through what we have. We have all the details for the bank account, but we don't have one yet. There's some government paperwork thing because of the nature of what we are,
Okay.
as far as establishing a bank account. Our chairman is out sick, so we can't get an update on him where he is with the attorneys.
Okay.
I know he's been interviewing some on the phone or reaching out for him and Martha to find one to interview to select. And then, what we got to next was just a priority list from the engineer. He brought up Mines Road, he brought up the port property at Pine, and he brought up the educational highways, 3 potential candidates to apply for funding, through the TID. And I know, as you said before, you're looking around, somewhere around March to make sure that we get our
Yeah. I think
application in. So, we may have to call a special meeting, we just discussed, between now and then, once we have an attorney located, and then having a meeting with them, and then get the guidance from them as far as a commissioner's role in the TID, and then to move on from there, to hone in on what is the project that we're aiming this first grant for, and making sure we dot our i's and cross our t's to get that grant application filled out, in accordance with the law to get into some of that money.
Mhm.
Also, I have a meeting with Commissioner Ditzler sometime in the next 10 days, where he's gonna clue me in on what he's done in Mahoning County and give me some tips on, how the TID has worked for them too, which will help bring me up to speed, at least from the commissioner's side.
Okay, well, I apologize for being late, thanks for the update.
And Mr. George has sat here and soaked it all in, and seems to be in agreement.
Yeah.
I completely agree with the 3 priorities, those are the 3 priorities, I completely agree with those as your priorities. Yeah, they're great projects. Mines Road jumps off the
Mhm.
page, but,
And between the two of you, you've got the experience with the TIDs, and he's got the
Yeah.
projects that he knows need funded.
yeah,
So when that time comes, we'll rely on both of your well-experienced guidance
without a doubt.
to see us through to the first check, and
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Mhm.
I think we work, and ask, Christina Wagner to come out sometime in the new year to see a handful of our projects.
Sure.
Make her, aware of what we're doing and see what she's thinking, so that goes a long way, went a long way in Mahoney
Mhm.
County. We'll set something like that up.
the feasibility study on mines, how long do you think that those normally last?
I wanna say contractually, it was a 90-day period, and it's well underway, so I would say within the next 60 days, we're gonna have a final report,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest one to get jumping for a TID
Mhm.
project, yep, I agree.
And that was something that the developer, the owner, who
Correct.
donated the funds, had very specific time constraints, and we confirmed that they were manageable, so.
Right. And we had brought up also that the potential dire straits of traffic problems at the mall area haven't occurred as of yet. And that's
Yeah.
probably because the Virgin Diamond is not fully engaged yet. It is cut down to 1 lane on 82, but people are still able to get off and on 46, and we don't have the backlog and diverted traffic yet, which is gonna cause some more
My own
problems.
experience as far as the backlog or any traffic tie-ups is mostly on Sundays, because I go that way to go back and forth to church, is actually, not so much getting off at 46, but getting back on to go
Okay.
home. That's where it bottlenecks really bad. But it's not awful,
Right.
but at least like if people are trying to get someplace, they're not,
Mhm.
that's getting to the mall or wherever, they're not getting frustrated, they might get a little frustrated when they leave.
Sure.
Time heals.
Yeah.
And there probably
Right.
are some people on Mines Road saying, geez, I mean, I want to have a traffic light here. That are reinventing the wheel over
Yeah.
and over and over, and we're one step ahead of it, we just have to get to that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I actually was meeting with ODOT this morning, that's why I missed this, we went over a bunch of projects. They said they have not heard many at all complaints on
Yeah,
that.
but surprisingly, neither have we.
Yeah,
You know, we, I guess, but by preparing for the worst,
absolutely.
if we get the best, then hey,
That's always good.
we were prepared. And I think the engineer was prepared, we had those discussions on the phone, previously for traffic patterns and working with ODOT if we needed different signage, and, I think everybody's aware.
Yep.
And by us playing chicken little, the sky is falling, it might have made Howland more aware, ODOT more aware, ourselves more aware and more prepared, and
Yeah, everybody expects to have a little bit of backup, but when they don't get any, they go right through and everybody's happy.
now, we have a weekend right before the mall, so
I
I'm sure
know,
there's gonna be a
I
big
know.
weekend, but we wouldn't
Right.
discourage anybody
I won't
from-
even tell you that I can't go back to the office that way, 'cause I can't get back, but
Yeah.
that's I'm mapping out and go a different way.
That's part of the fun of Christmas, not sitting at home on Amazon, it's
I agree.
getting out to your local retailer.
I
Put
do.
it into GPS to go over there, it'll send you down Pine Street. 'cause I've been doing it.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
certain times of the day, it'll put you out that way.
Wow, that's fantastic.
But if you put it in, it takes you down Pine into Niles, gets you back on 80 or 680.
I know Beth Carmichael has been working to do something with Google. I think your department may have had some input too, as far as traffic patterns or whatever, and the science, the technology we have today, I guess, picks up on that stuff.
It might have helped out, 'cause
Yeah.
I would have never done it. I learned it from the guys, you know, have an interest in a company out in Colorado. No matter where they go, they put it into GPS because of the traffic out there.
Right.
It sends you many different ways. So I think a lot of people are getting in the habit, especially knowing that there's a construction
Mhm.
project
Yeah.
out there.
That's amazing, when they say, it's red here, watch out, and then you roll up, it's like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
yeah.
Apple,
that
I
actually
use
just
Apple.
happened, how's it red
Apple.
already, and
Yeah.
technology.
Pretty
There are people, I guess, well advanced beyond us when it comes to
good.
Yeah, sure.
programming, I think. Do you have any more input, anyone have any more input?
I did wanna just clarify a little bit on the bank account, so you know exactly where we're at. I did get an EIN, we're classified, as a government instrumentality, so that kind of puts us in a weird, we're not government, we're not business, and so they don't quite know what to do with us, and that's where a lot of the holdup has been, actually going to banks and not being able to, like, them understand it all. Somebody wanted me to, get a register a business name, I'm like, no, that's not what and I couldn't even get it through his head that that's not what it was. So I ended up back at US Bank, which is where I bank, and they've been really helpful, but again, they wanted to get us into a product that would fit us and wouldn't cost us an arm and a leg, and I appreciated that. So it's taken a little bit of time, but we have everything turned in, we're just waiting on them to finish going through our papers. We also, the other thing that I had been charged with was to ask the commissioners for some money. I did that, and we do have a check sitting in the safe waiting to go in the bank as soon as it's done.
That's good news. Progress,
So we've
yeah.
made some progress, and Nick, I know, is working very hard at trying to get the attorneys, but it's really hard to get attorneys to move sometimes, and especially for something that's probably not going to give them a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and this time of year too.
Absolutely, but I know Nick, until he got sick, was trying very hard, and, I have not heard from Nick today. I was hoping to have a report. I know he intended to have a report.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned that he took a little nosedive and is not being sick. I'm hopeful that he's not.
Yeah,
but-
me too.
Because he's not, he's a really responsible person,
Well, I know he is, sure.
I'm not, it has me a little bit concerned, but, I do know that he's been in contact with several of them,
Good.
a couple of them, so.
Okay.
We're moving, and we said we'll have to have a meeting at some point, but that'll be Nick's call.
I'll be on time.
To do that. Thank you.
Oh, the challenges at work.
Oh.
It just fills up, you can't get out of the door, it's just,
Especially this time of year.
yeah, yeah.
And our next regular, I announced it to them, our next regular meeting is March 20th at 2 PM right here. And of course, you'll get notice of that.
If we do find an attorney we're ready to contract with, we'll call a special meeting, emergency meeting
Yeah.
to get together to approve that, so we can get them working on it before our next meeting.
Great,
So hopefully by March, we've got guidance from the attorney
Yeah.
as far as,
yes.
Someone that's got some know-how.
Mhm.
Outstanding, well, we're moving. Look
Yes.
forward to our first project next year.
Not as fast as I wanted to, but.
No, it's okay, we're getting there.
Pretty
long as we
good,
get
I
there.
appreciate you coming around, I know this is a short meeting,
It's
so we all
okay.
get busy schedules, snow outside, for the three of you to
I would
attend.
normally
We
would be here,
appreciate it.
just someday, everybody's asking for something, we're off Fridays, and I go, I'm not free till January 4th or something like, and we're just trying to jam too much in at the last minute, but we'll be all right.
Anybody else for the good?
Just out of, curiosity, I don't remember if we selected alternates for our individual positions.
I don't think we did,
Okay.
but, obviously with chairperson, vice chairperson takes place, I think that's within our bylaws, I need to look at it.
Mhm.
But, and I think, we could.
I wanna say when we journalized it, it was the county commissioner or his alternate,
But,
the
the county engineer and or his alternate,
Okay.
Mr. Kinnigan or his alternate from Eastgate,
Representative.
your representative. So if you weren't able to be here, then we'll have to check with the attorney, of course, or if you sent someone else in your place, you sent someone else from Eastgate.
Yeah.
If Nick
I
sent
mean, I could
someone else
even
from
give
the
you a
planning
name
commission.
too, I mean,
Well, what I was
Well-
thinking, maybe Mr. George would be willing to do the alternate. I don't know if we can do that, because we're so limited in our meetings.
Right,
I'm not really gonna not that I'll miss the meeting, but to send an alternate, I don't know if that serves any purpose.
And that's
If
something.
they haven't been there, you know what I mean?
His position is spelled out that he was appointed by the Speaker of the House, so I don't know if we can utilize him for a vote also as an alternate, at, being that he's in the non-voting slot. I don't know, it's a good question,
That's a
that'll be
good
an attorney
question for the
question too.
attorney.
It would be great, because, like, you know,
Could help out.
if we were in a situation.
When we get down to this situation with,
Right.
you know, someone's
Oh,
health or what
yeah.
have you in a small board.
Right, it is.
I think Mahoney I designated somebody to sit in for me if I couldn't be there.
Okay.
And I just picked up Steve Zubik, our Director of Transportation, which would be versed enough to, and I could update him on anything if I couldn't be at the
Right.
meeting, so.
And all of our meetings are put on YouTube, so if somebody, and we haven't had a whole lot, but as we get into something, if somebody needed to educate themselves very quickly, they can watch the meeting.
Sure.
But we'd have to check, just because his position is specifically designated as he is the Speaker of the House's choice to be an observer, non-voting member, and I don't know if that would conflict with the position he's in if he served dual purpose
Okay.
as filling in. It would be great if it could, but again, that's why we need our attorney
Right.
to guide us in this stuff.
Yeah, I don't think Chuck could assume that responsibility.
Probably.
Okay.
I would doubt it also, but like I said,
And if
there are
you're,
people that know much more about this than we do,
and
I
I think
guess.
if you're, I think the other thing is maybe for, I know you don't wanna waste people's time and bring them here if you don't need to, but certainly having, maybe Gary or somebody who, you can, you know, bring up to speed and keep up to speed probably would be a good idea,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that's just, that's their purpose, so that you know
Okay.
that.
And we might wanna look at the March meeting also, to make these meetings move a little faster, a little more substance. You know, that might be a meeting where we invite someone from ODOT, or we invite somebody from Mahoney County, or someone that's dealt with TIDs and grants and the whole process, or someone that needs to know, to be at that meeting as part of the agenda or whatever, so we can educate ourselves from the source, without having to say, let's get a hold of this person after the meeting and see what they say. Involve them in somewhat in the program, so we can all be enlightened about what they have and learn, together. And that might speed things up just a tad bit.
I added it on here, and of course it'll be on the minutes, but I'll also, when I touch base with Nick.
Right. Maybe we get a TID professional, there's the couple county commissioners, one that wrote the legislation for TID that we kind of referred to in this, that the, Chamber of Commerce helped us with. You know, maybe we can get him or his designee, or someone that trained under him, or somebody that knows, to come here and say, hey, here's what a TID is, let me streamline you, here's what you gotta do it this way, you're good to go, and this is the quickest route, and here's how we do it.
It's a great idea.
I think that's the best, rather than reinventing the wheel. There's 53 other TIDs out there somewhere,
Yeah.
let's copy what they do.
Great.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
There we go, we have another vote there, there you go. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none? Thank you, gentlemen, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.